What is up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of FitBizU. I'm your host, Jill Coleman, and today we are going to get into this is a little bit of a bigger topic. This is actually a presentation I did a couple of years ago. And now that JillFit has been in business for over a decade, and many of you guys know that I run a program co-hosted with Dr. Shante Cofield, aka the Movement Maestro, called Legacy. And the reason why we called the mentorship Legacy is because we want people to have long careers. We want people to do this, and we don't want to see this as like flash in the pan. We don't want people seeing this as like, oh, it's like a hobby. It's something I'll just try out. We really want people to see this as an actual career. That's always a question that comes up is like, do you think this thing's viable? I remember the first few years at JillFit, people would say, do you think it's going to run out? Do you think like this is going to be a thing? How long will this last? And 12 years later, I'm happy to say that not only have we lasted this long, but we continue to grow. And so I want to do an episode on what it really takes to have a 10 plus year business, a 10 plus year career, not just like, oh, I'm an online coach, like an actual CEO of an internet business. And I was thinking back to this. I actually did this talk at Jason Phillips' event a couple of years ago. And I was thinking back to like, what were my sort of big turning points? What were my sort of big pivots? And what were the things that have made this brand and this business successful over that time? When I started in 2010, there was a lot of people starting at that time as well, a lot of competitors. I was in the competitor space, fitness modeling space. And I think a lot of people like the idea of it, but so many people didn't stick with it. And I understand why. If you guys have done anything in the online space, you know that it's not easy and it's really easy to tap out. We had a lot of people who just like the idea of it. They love the idea of autonomy and working from home and having more freedom. Of course, who wouldn't? But they were unwilling to sort of stick it out. And it's not like any fault of theirs. Most people do quit. But what does it really take to have a successful online business career? Like, what are some of the biggest downmovers? Now, I have 6 that I'm going to share with you guys today that I believe that if you can master these, and they're practices, they're not things that you just sort of like slip into. They're things that I've learned over the last 12 years that have really helped me continue to iterate. Not only that, but continue to grow the business, but also be excited about growing the business, be excited about what we're doing. So I want to break these down. There's actually 6 big downmovers. So this episode might go a tiny bit longer than usual. But the first thing, and this is so important, is number 1 is break through what I call the trust barrier. Now, we talk about this a lot on this podcast, the idea that we're in the trust business. So people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And for us, we know that we need to have a relationship with the people first. They're not just going to, if trust wasn't a big factor, people would just pick the smartest person or they would pick the most shredded trainer. We know that's not the case. People buy from those who are like them, buy from those who they believe can help them. And so, yes, while I do want you guys to have something aspirational about you, at the end of the day, it comes back to what's my relationship with this potential client? Do they trust me? Do they trust that I'm the one that can get them the results? Because we're in the results business, aren't we? People buy outcomes, they buy solutions. And so the trust barrier, you can think about it sort of like a threshold that you need to reach in order to increase the viability of your business. Now, a lot of numbers have been thrown around like a year, 18 months, 24 months. It's all different for everybody. It's going to be a little bit different. Some people are going to be faster, some people are going to be slower. One way that you can actually hasten the trust process, right? Trust by nature takes time. One way that you can hasten is just produce more. If people start to see you more, right? You're top of mind, they see you being consistent. They're like, oh shit, Jill's really doing it. She's legit. She's out here working, turning this into a legit thing. And if they see you as a legit expert with a legit business, they're going to feel much safer handing over their dollars. So the trust barrier is this threshold that you sort of need to breach in order to get people's business. Now, I talk about this in terms of, you've heard me like use the analogy of sort of pushing a boulder up a hill. And when you're pushing it up, of course, your effort is not going to be commensurate with the results, right? It's hard. You're having to fight tooth and nail for every single subscriber and follower and client and everything. It feels really hard. And then you get to the top of the mountain, and that's where I call the trust barrier. And you push that boulder over the top, and all of a sudden it goes down the other side. And now it's picking up steam, it's picking up momentum. At that point, you have broken through the trust barrier, and a lot of things come easier. And this is sort of the cruel thing with internet business, is that there is a sort of like workup phase that you need to get to. And most people tap out before they get there. Again, there's not like a tried and true, oh, at 18 months, everything just flips, but you'll start to notice that you're getting more opportunities, that people are starting to hear about you, that people are starting to invite you to be on their podcast, or people are reaching out to you for coaching. And at that point, now you have some name recognition, you have some a reputation of sorts as being someone who does this thing, and they have that familiarity, and that's really what we want. And the key here is a huge mistake I see people making, especially newbies, is they come on and they never break through with one thing. They jump to personal development. They jump over to fitness. Now they're a health coach. Now they're a life coach. Now they're a mindset coach. And they don't stick with one thing long enough to break through the trust barrier. So you have to, the reason why JillFit was able to pivot into business was because we had enough people, enough results with health and fitness first. So that became a pipeline into business. So if you think about trust translates. If someone trusts you in one area, they're much more likely to trust you in a second area. So when someone comes into JillFit and they do one of my fitness programs, or they have a nutrition, they go through the Moderation 365 curriculum, and they have a win when it comes to their fitness or nutrition, they're much more likely to hire on me when they're looking for a business coach, because they go, oh, I already got a win with Jill. I already accomplished with something with her. I know she's legit. Now she's doing business. She's going to be my go-to for business. So if you're going to switch your areas of expertise, or you're going to change the name of your business or your area, whoever you're working with, you have to be good at the first thing first. So, Maestro, she did the same thing. She came on, she was a movement professional. She still is a movement professional, even though she doesn't coach that anymore. But she came on the scene. She made waves and built her brand around movement. So then when she pivoted into Instagram and business, people were like, oh, yeah, for sure, I'm going to go with Shantae because I've already had wins with her when it comes to movement. And so you have to break through one thing first. And what I see is a lot of people jumping ship before they get there. And then they wonder why they've been doing this business for 3, 4, 5 years and they've never broken through. And things always feel hard, and they always feel like they're starting from scratch. So the trust barrier or threshold, of course, it's an imaginary amount of things, but it is content, it's touch points, it's publishing. When I say publishing, I mean like social media posts, email newsletters, podcast episodes, all of those things. So there is enough there for people to go, oh, Jill has a body of work now that now speaks for itself. And so, yes, there is the timing thing, but there's also a volume thing. How much have you been doing? How much are you giving to those things? So you have to break through the trust barrier before you jump ship and go somewhere else. So if you see someone who's constantly being like, now I'm a mindset coach, now I'm a health coach, now I'm a life coach, now I'm a relationship coach, it's hard to break through. So you have to stick with one thing long enough, become the go-to person for that one thing, and then you break through and you can go wherever you want. You can literally go wherever you want, but you have to break through with one thing first. Okay. Number 2 is a quote, and this is actually from Ryan Blair. It's "The path is all math." The path is all math. And I love this because he tells a story in his book, Nothing to Lose. His book, it's a biography called Nothing to Lose. And he tells the story of when he was starting his company, how he would get very emotionally hijacked, like anytime anything went wrong. He would just be like, it's all bad, and like really get like highly emotional. And then he came to this point where he was just like, you know what, there's a solution here. And me getting emotionally hijacked is actually not helping the situation. So how can I stay level-headed and just find the solution? So the path is all math is a reminder to me to stay as clinical as possible when it comes to the business. I find a lot of peace in knowing that everything is solvable. Now, it might be hard, it might be annoying, right? It might be frustrating, but the answer is always out there. I just might not know it yet. But I take a lot of solace in knowing that the answer is out there, that people have and do run really successful fucking businesses. So if something is in the way of my success and I run up on an obstacle, I go, cool, it's not here. If it's not here, where is it? So the path is all math is a reminder to stay as objective as you can when you come up on these inevitable, by the way, inevitable problems in your business. So to me, the ability to sort of tamp down the emotional hijack and the pity parties and it's all bad, I hate this. At the end of the day, I really don't want to hate my business. I want to love it. And so how can I figure out a way to find workarounds and pivots for some of these things instead of getting completely emo, in which case, if I do get emotionally hijacked, I can't make good decisions there when I'm in that headspace, right? If I'm in that irrational headspace, I'm not making good decisions. So for me, the path is all math is a reminder to stay as clinical as possible. Number 3, have more conversations and give more curated access. Okay. So we are in a time right now called conversation marketing. And conversation marketing essentially means that people need to hear from you. They need to have a relationship with you before they purchase. So even if you go to, I don't know, you go to Nordstrom.com or something, and a little thing will pop up that says, hey, can I help you find something? Like a little bubble, like a messenger app. So even big corporations are starting to see that they need to have some back and forth with their people, with their potential customers beforehand. And so this means that things like Instagram stories, where you can lead people to DM conversations where there's back and forth with you. Maybe this is SMS texting. A lot of people are doing that lately. Any way where you can be in more contact with your people and have more conversations. Now, the second part of that is curated access. So here's the deal is you need to give access. And there was a time in when I first got started, like 2009, 2008, 2010, where it was sort of like the Twitter sphere. It was like Twitter was really big back then. And there was this movement by some people in our profession, like more successful, more published people in the fitness space to not talk to anybody. They didn't respond to your tweets. They didn't respond to your messages. They didn't respond to comments on their posts. And it was this idea of maintaining some separation. Like, no, I'm up here and you're down here. I'm the teacher, you're the student. And it was very, in my mind, status driven. And I remember just fucking hating that because at that point, I didn't have a platform. I was just getting started. And I remember being on Twitter and reaching out to some people who were like, they were further along than me. But I was like, really? You can't even just like the the tweet? You can't even just acknowledge it? And I knew that they had the bandwidth to do it. So it's fine. People can do whatever they want with that channel. But I saw an opportunity there. I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to respond to everybody. Now, again, every once in a while, something slips through the cracks, but I'm like, I'm going to be as accessible as I possibly can. To me, that was a 1% interaction at the time. Now, of course, this is very well known where it's like, yes, of course, a comment, reply to all your comments and reply to all your DMs and don't let things go. But there was this really odd movement back there 10 years ago to not be accessible. But now you have to be accessible, right? We're in the age of accessibility where you can literally DM an Instagram celebrity and maybe get a response. And so, yes, more conversations in general. People need to hear from you. There needs to be some back and forth. They need to have a relationship with you before they purchase, but also access. Now, I say curated access because, it's just not, you don't just carte blanche, email me anytime a day, call me, text me, whatever. What are the channels? Is it DMs? Do you do, I have some clients that do a little, coffee talks with their people. Every Friday, we're going to jump on Instagram Live. See me there. It's almost like a column for a magazine. We're going to do, check-ins over. We're going to talk over text for an hour. I'll be on Instagram Live Tuesday at 5. You can have these more set scheduled times for interaction. You're not just available all the time, anytime to everybody, but you need to be accessible in some capacity. People need to connect. This idea that you're just going to be this expert up here, authority, and not interact with people and expect them to buy is ridiculous. To me, it's also gross. And so more conversations, more curated access. Number 4, you have to up your testimonials and case study game. Now, this is something I definitely wish that I did earlier in the business. And I was like, oh, like it's a pain. You guys know this. Getting testimonials, your clients don't want their face in the pictures. They don't want to take image, they don't want to take pictures. They don't want to give you, they do want to give you a video testimonial. They just don't get around to it. This is one of the questions I constantly get asked in FBA is like, how do I get more testimonials? Now, we've done whole episodes on this, so I would encourage you to go to Google, FitBizU testimonials. There's a whole dedicated episode on how to get testimonials. But the number one thing I can tell you is try to do more work for your clients. Try to do it for them. So one of the things I try and do is I either ask my clients, number one, if they'll do a video testimonial, and I keep it very easy. I'm like, cool, just answer these 3 questions and keep it less than 3 minutes. That's it. Answer these 3 questions on a video and make it less than 3 minutes. And I also incentivize them by giving them a gift card of some kind. Now, I don't tell them what to say. And I'm not like, if you only say this, then I'll give you the gift card. It's like, I give them a gift card to incentivize them doing something they already want to do, but in a more timely manner. Because oftentimes, if you get your clients' results, they want to shout it from the rooftops. But sitting down to do a video maybe feels intimidating, or maybe they just don't have the time or they don't make the time. So in order for me to incentivize people who already want to give me a testimonial, by the way, to do it by a certain date, a deadline, I usually incentivize them. And I usually just ask these people, and sometimes they can do it, sometimes they can't. So you can incentivize them that way. Second thing you can do is you can actually jump on a Zoom call with them and interview them. So you can say, you know what, I know this is a pain in the ass. Why don't we meet for like 5 minutes on Zoom next week? Here's a couple of times that work. Let me know which one works. Let's jump on and I'll just ask you some questions. And then you don't need to say anything specific. Just answer however you'd answer. And that way you have that video and you can sort of steer the conversation to get some of the responses that you want. You can ask them about their results. You can ask them how they're doing things differently now. You can ask them about their frustrations and their struggles before they started working with you. So you can actually just do the work for them. The third thing you can do is you can do what's called a case study. Case study is your recounting of the coaching relationship. So you actually write it out. When Sharon came to work with me, she was really struggling with X, Y, and Z. She was complaining of this. She really wanted to work towards this. And then I talk about our intervention. When we worked together, these are some of the things we did. And I list out those best practices. And then I say, now, 3 months later, Sharon's doing this, and this is how she's living. So I write it from my perspective as the coach. I write up our entire story. This could potentially be a sales email. This could potentially be a social media post. And then I send it to Sharon and I say, hey, does this look correct to you? Can you just give me the sign off? And usually they're like, yeah, it sounds amazing. Perfect. So then you can use that also. So this is a way for you to do more of the work rather than sitting there and complaining about why your clients won't give you testimonials. You're going to have to go out and get proactive. How can you do this for them? How can you lower the barrier to entry? Remember, when I asked for videos, I'm like 3 minutes or less and answer these 3 questions. I was like, give me a testimonial and assume they know how to do it. Of course they don't know how to do it. They've never done it before. So it's up to me to make it so easy for them that it's a no-brainer. Number 5, double down on your strengths and find workarounds for your weaknesses. Now, we've done episodes on like automation and outsourcing and stuff like that. And this really comes down to it is really identifying your zone of genius and really being okay with offloading the things you're not good at. So it could be as simple as, your cooking and cleaning and stuff like that in your house, like using things like Amazon Prime or DoorDash or whatever. It's some of those kind of things so that you can actually be super focused in the things that you're the best at. So you can show up in your business fully leveraging your time and expertise. But don't try and bring up your weaknesses. I see a lot of people being like, I should be able to, I don't know, do graphic design, right? I don't do graphic design. I mean, I wish I could. It looks amazing when people do it, but like, I'm not going to spend 40 hours on Canva to do something when I could literally pay someone $10 an hour to do it for me. So I think about things like that. I could spend the time because right now, and I think you guys know this, and this kind of goes into your time is actually more valuable than money. Your time is more valuable than money. And you start making decisions based on time instead of money, you ironically make way more money. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys from the perspective of like, if I'm leveraging my time better, I can create something or do something that's going to make even more money versus just like toughing it out and being like, but I should know how to do Canva. It's like, I know how to get around Canva, but I'm not good at it. And I don't want to expend the energy to be really good at it when there's a bunch of people who are really amazing at it. Or if I don't have the cash to outsource it, I just don't do graphic design right now, right? I make more sales and then I can put some resources into it. But for right now, maybe that's just not something I do. And I just try and make it fine. And I call it good enough. So instead of trying to bring up your weaknesses, find workarounds for them. Find outsourcing or shit maybe just doesn't get done. Like maybe I just don't do graphic design right now. So for me, one of the things we're focusing a lot on JillFit right now is video. And I'm not a videographer. And that's not easy for me. So it's like, how can we equip someone on my team to edit the video and to add captions? Like, what I'm literally like, what software do you need? What lighting do you need? What audio do you need? Like, let's get you everything you need to make it like something you can do, but I'm not going to do it. So, how can we take it off my plate and give it to someone who's an expert at it? Double down on your strengths. You will leverage so much more time and money if you're really just working mostly in your zone of genius and then either outsourcing other stuff or shit like letting it go. That has been a huge for me because I think early on I felt like I should be able to do everything and I should be able to do everything really well. Now, it's one thing to have like some awareness, like, yeah, I know what Canva is, right? I know how to get around it. I know how to like click on stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to spend my time with it. I'm not fast at it. I'm not good at it. I don't have the eye for it. So I'm going to outsource that or just not do it. So really figuring out what your zone of genius is and spending the most time possible there. Now, the last one, number 6, is using iteration as a compliance and marketing tool. Iteration as a compliance and marketing tool. What I mean by this is you have a personal brand. You are a person, you're a whole ass person, and you change over the years. Shit, I've been doing this 12 years. My audience has seen me go through infidelity, divorce, separation, several moves across the country, finding love again, getting a dog, right? Traveling the world alone. Like they've just seen me do all of that stuff. And whether or not they want to come along for the journey is fine. But I know as a personal brand, I share all that stuff. Now, I don't like necessarily, share every single tiny thing with my audience, but I'm pretty open. And that for me has felt organic. It's felt authentic. It's felt easy. And it's a compliance tool. If I have to hide the different parts of me in my business, it's going to be harder to show up. Iteration, you're changing as a person. Now, go back to number 1. Break through with your expertise in one area. Don't just keep jumping ship. I'm not going to travel the world alone and now call myself a travel blogger. I'm like, no, I'm still a fitness person, right? So you still have to stick with something, but you can pull the curtain back and you can bring your audience along for the ride. And there's something in there that is, when I say it's a marketing tool, people love the storyline. They love the narrative. When I started, when I got divorced and I got separated and divorced, my audience knew my ex-husband. And so some people in my audience were invested in that. They wanted to know what was going on with that, what happened. Then they wanted to know, like, am I dating someone new? What's that going to like? And I'm sure, they want to know about Keith, my current partner, or whatever. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. They're not like nosy or wrong. It's just like, that is something that people are interested in. And think about it. We have a reality show, culture. And so using iteration and evolution of you as a person to share with your audience, it helps you continue to show up to your business. Because again, if you have to constantly be the old version of you to think you have to be successful, you're not going to like your business. And also from a marketing perspective, people want to know what the next step is. And oftentimes a lot of my audience has come with me over the years. They started following for the hardcore fitness stuff and the competitor stuff. And then they evolved into the moderation stuff. And maybe they started a business and now they're, now they listen to The Best Life or the, whatever. So they've come along for the ride. And you have the opportunity to do that with your business as well. I want you guys to have long careers. And if you're trying to keep yourself in a box, your audience will leave, right? If you try and keep yourself in a box because you're going to hate it, and then it's going to be too repetitious for them too. So like iteration, evolution within your business, but again, bring them along for the ride, pull the curtain back and show show as much as you possibly can. And that is what's going to help you actually continue to like your business, because no one really talks about that. It's like, how can I make more and more money? And how can I keep growing the business? At the end of the day, if it's a personal brand, you have to stay engaged in it. One of the main reasons why I brought on team members last year and really scaled the business because I wanted a new skill set. I'm like, let me learn management. Let me learn scaling. Let me learn company culture. Let me learn all these things that I had never done before. And it's not pretty sometimes, right? But it's keeping me engaged. And that's what I love about it, is like, cool, it's opening up all these other possibilities for JillFit that I've never seen before as a solopreneur. And so I want you guys to think about that. So real quick, I'm going to run through these 6 again. Number 1, break through the trust barrier with one thing first before jumping ship. Number 2, the path is all math. Stay as clinical as possible when problems arise in your business. Number 3, have more conversations, conversation marketing, and give more curated access, right? People need to know you, have conversations with you. Number 4, increase your testimonials and case studies game. People need to see people like them getting a result, right? They like you, they know you, but where are the other people who look like them? So they need to see other examples that you're good at this, that you've done it a million times. Number 5, double down on your strengths and find workarounds or outsource for your weaknesses. That is key, especially as you scale. And number 6, iteration as a compliance tool and marketing tool. So take your audience with you when you go. Good. Hopefully it's helpful for you guys. As a reminder, we do have the FBA launch coming up. We launch this program once or twice a year. It is called Fitness Business Accelerator. It is my beginner to business course. We're launching in September, and I would love if you guys are interested in learning more about it. No obligation, but I would love if you would add yourself to the interest list. You can go to jillfitfree.com/FBA-waitlist, jillfitfree.com/FBA-waitlist. Get on the waitlist for FBA. You guys will get early details. We do have some homework, some short little homework assignments coming your way, as well as an exclusive discount that only waitlisters get. So make sure if you even have the tiniest bit of interest in learning about FBA that you jump on that waitlist. Good. All right. That's it from you guys. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.